As someone who was born from an egg that fell from outer space, I've always felt myself to have a great kinship with the strange and beautiful creatures of my favourite video game genre, 3D action platformers. And Kena, Bridge of Spirits, is just that. It has everything I remember from my childhood games. Beautiful worlds, cute characters, dead babies. And no, that's not a joke, there is actually dead children in this game. It was the main reason I bought it. The game has satisfying platforming, gorgeous visuals, and one of the best game soundtracks I've heard in years. But, while I was quite happy with my time and money spent in Kena, there is a distinct emptiness I felt when playing the game. A particular combination of quiet environments, little dialogue or lore, and pretty underdeveloped game mechanics left me feeling just sort of empty sometimes. Like the game was missing something I couldn't quite put my finger on. So now I'm going to take that finger and poke and prod every adorable little fuzzy creature in the forest until they give me the answers I goddamn deserve. You are Kena, a spirit guide with L'Oreal Paris quality skin, whose job it is to help the lost spirits of the world pass on to the other side. We find ourselves at the start of the game wandering through a forest, soon to confront a very powerful spirit, and also the worst voice acted character in the game. After a short tutorial against our ESL antagonist, we are introduced to a village that acts as the hub for our adventure, after which we will help release 3 spirits of their troubled ties to this world so that we can heal the land. So it's classic stuff really, you know, dead people are making the forest angry, it's just another Friday night for the boys, am I right? Each of the 3 spirits we help have associated characters that tell us about them and the troubled actions that led to their not very nice demise, and this is where the game's presentation does the heavy lifting. There's nothing very remarkable about the story, but the game's atmosphere can change so effortlessly from chirpy stroll through a forest to the traumatic memories of a man's final moments, it kinda got me in some places. Like the fate of the first spirit you help, Taro, although I did originally think he was the guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, actually got me a little bit choked up. But in all honesty, that's kinda where my interest waned. With 3 spirits in the same village acting as the 3 acts of the game, you would expect their stories to all interconnect and lead them to this one big aha moment, where it's unveiled why these 3 spirits in particular were important to us. But as it turns out, they're not really interconnected at all. They are all technically connected in as much as their deaths are all linked to the big 5G tower malfunction we see happen from the mountains every now and again. But as far as the characters are concerned, they have nothing to do with one another, they just so happen to live in the same place. So the game's story is not very long or complicated, but if you are worried about spoilers, skip like 40 seconds. It's not a big deal. Well, who are these 3 spirits that have nothing to do with one another? Well, the first spirit is about a brother who got caught up in the chaos of the woods one night, accidentally abandoning his baby twin brothers. The second one is about an engineer lady who tried to bring energy back to the land by building a tower. I don't really know why it was a tower. Like her girlfriend went off to sea and never came back, so I get the metaphor. But why a tower? Why not like a power plant? Or like just when you break it down. The third guy, this guy, oh my god, don't get me started on this joker. The third guy is the leader of the village who couldn't accept the fact that the place was dying. So he ended up punching an old man, stealing his council-funded walking stick, and then killed Trico from The Last Guardian. We of course end up bringing peace and tranquility back to the land at the end. So the story itself isn't anything too exciting, and I wouldn't have thought much about it if the game didn't take me about 10 hours to complete. Now, I know 10 hours doesn't really make that long a game, but it definitely feels a lot longer when your story is basically 3 loosely connected vignettes. And I haven't even mentioned Kena. That is because there ain't that much to mention. The only thing we know about her is she's a spirit guide, and she has or had a dad who was a spirit guide and something bad happened to him. Yet her name is in the title and you can learn more about a person from a tweet than you can from this game. But the plot isn't the thing that left a lasting impact on me. Something else did. Every character I've referred to so far, bar Kena, is a spirit. Everyone in this game is dead. Everyone. These little kids. This old man who I think is Samos from the Jack games. Turns out it's not. The guy who played Samos died like 4 years ago. Fucking yikes. Hawkeye over here. Looking at individual clips of the game, you get a sense that there's characters in a community, but in-game they're all gone, and the ones you meet have died in particularly horrible circumstances. And there's no real balance in any other part of the story to bring up the mood a bit. Like, there's no bit where Kena just goes to a comedy club and gets smashed afterwards. No, it's her job to go through all the traumatic ways everyone's kicked the bucket, and she never gets a break. She's just running from one ghost with mental health issues to the next, and it gave me this sort of melancholy vibe that I don't know if the game was going for. I feel like the game is supposed to be chirpy and light, but the game is very recognisably like a kind of PlayStation 2 era platformer, where you're told your objective, you're placed in an area, and you just get on with it. It's not like most adventure games nowadays where there is lore to pick up or character dialogue, either between two people or the main character thinking out loud to themselves. In Kena, you'll play for literally an hour or two straight, just doing stuff, without a single word being spoken, jumping on things, doing puzzles, hitting guys, and not a word of dialogue or world building will occur in the meantime. Kena has extremely rare moments where she'll comment on a memory you find, but that aside, she never expresses any emotion vocally outside of a cutscene. It just ended up making me feel sad. And not in like a, I was Team Edward kind of sad. I mean a deep, existential, what is my life and why am I playing this video game kind of sad. I think it's called Depressing. Something like Uncharted isn't too dissimilar to Kena. You're on a basic adventure with a pretty bare set of mechanics. You beat each level as you come across them. But in Uncharted you have characters that chat to you throughout each level. They have banter, wit, funny accents. One of them has a mustache. Kena doesn't have any of that. Especially the mustache. I mean, my god, I have to do everything, guys. There we go. That's much better. And without that, my brain stopped being tricked by the classic video game smoke and mirrors, and I realised I was just performing tasks until I eventually die. Which is what I do in my real life anyway, so... Thanks for bringing it up, game. You know, I thought I'd spend some money, I'd play a fun wee video game full of little moss people, but no, you have to fucking dig up a bunch of shit I'd rather not think about right now. You know, the fucking god. Gameplay isn't quite what I expected out of this. You look at the art and you think, oh, it's an old school platformer where you jump around, you collect little giblets, you have 2 attack buttons. And you do jump, and you do attack, and there are giblets. But the majority of the time you spend as a dead person guidance counsellor is, in fact, mostly spent whacking the shit out of haunted wood people. That is the combat, and the combat is fine. The type of fine where, in the first 5 minutes of play, you go, this is a bit shit, isn't it? And then because the game knows the combat isn't that great, it eventually bleeds into the background over the course of the game, and you forget about it as more and more better game mechanics come in to replace it. In cases like that, most of the time having combat that's just okay is okay. But in the case of Kena, as it turns out, combat is like 80% of what you do. You don't really get a sense of it from any of the trailers, but it's kind of bonkers how many hours of gameplay you get out of really just passable, diet Dark Souls combat. For a dev team that were originally just an animation studio, it's ironically the animations that hold back the combat. They all feel overly quick and snappy, not like you're actually whacking around a thwomping thick rod of fantasy wood. I didn't want to make that line erotic, but it just kind of happened upon me. There's lots of little things like that just don't feel great. Like the jump attack doesn't home in as far as you'd think. All the upgrades are uninteresting or not particularly useful, apart from the charged heavy attack. Some of your special rot attacks feel quite nice, like the rot hammer really does make you feel like you're using an amorphous blob of cute mascot characters to form a giant bludgeoning weapon. The gameplay outside of it is cute too, and I do like how the combat tools you're given are used for puzzles and platforming, as well as combat. Like the bombs are used to blow up platforms, but can also stun enemies. The dash is used for going through portals, as well as making specific enemies vulnerable. And the bow and arrow is used for platforming and these little light gem puzzles, as well as mowing down your fellow classmates. Outside of those mechanics, however, that really is it. The lack of many substantially well thought out game systems is another big thing that adds to the empty feeling the game left me with. Like for example, you collect all these shiny blue rocks throughout the game. My goodness, what exciting treat might they unlock? What interesting new mechanic or piece of world building lie beneath the shiny rocks? It's hats. No lore, no new mechanics, it's fucking hats. Anyway, a sense of meaninglessness and the infinite void that is reality aside, Kena is definitely this studio's first game. These mechanics aren't stretched to their limit or particularly refined at what they're trying to do. There's lots of little things that annoy you because they're just so prevalent, like how painfully slow Kena swims, or the rot tadpole summon, which makes me feel like I'm somehow using a Kinect in-game. None of it is strictly bad, but none of it is particularly great either. Kana's strongest aspect, as you might have noticed, is the presentation. The game is really pretty. That's about all I've got to say about it. Looks real nice. Looks real good. Even the font looks nice, doesn't it? It looks like a really nice DreamWorks movie that kids will love and I'll never watch. But that's not the bit I'm impressed by, because the game still has its rough edges that pull you out of the apparent mirror sheen polish you might have expected. Kana falling through the ground, little rock people disappearing, clipping issues, the aforementioned sense of ennui that'll make you question your place in life. You know, gamer problems. Stuff like that wasn't uncommon in my playthrough, but the game has received at least 3 patches during that time, so the studio are at least passionate about improving. But no, all the nice particle effects and shiny graphics aside, by far and away, the best part of Kena Bridge of Spirits is the music. I think in general, music has to do one of two things. Either has to sound good or provide atmosphere. Kena does both, and it perfectly fills the hole that the rest of the game carved out of me. The music makes me imagine the bustling community in the forest full of characters and stories you don't see in the game, but I wish were there. It very much gave me a vibe of somewhere between Avatar, The Last Airbender and the Tak games. The voice acting, however, is a bit all over the place. The man playing Toshi sounds distinctly like he speaks English as a second language, and good voice acting is always, if you close your eyes, do I see the character in my head or a voice actor? And I didn't get that with Toshi. When I heard him speak, I didn't hear a character overcome with corruption. I just heard a Japanese guy trying to get through an English script.
I took it to save my people.
Also, Archerman over here, Rusu, sounds like that guy with the most American voice on the planet. It keeps on appearing in PlayStation games.
I sense it holds a deeper power.
I think it's the same guy who plays the fucking Crimson Chin over here in Knack.
Sit tight. I'll take her down.
And I can't for the life of me tell you if I think he's bad. I don't think he is. I just don't think his accent fits in the game, to the point where it's so distracting it kind of pulls me out of it. When I hear him speak, I don't feel like I'm in the forest. I feel like I'm in a smoothie bar in Los Angeles.
I've marked the shrine locations on your map.
On the other hand, I think Kana's voice acting is fine. She doesn't actually say that much, but when she does, she never sounded odd to me. And the wise old character we keep returning to, Zajuro, has the perfect voice for the part. You know, he's got that perfect wise old man type of vibe, like, yeah, I live in the forest, I've been off the grid for a while, I never had kids because I know kids like you are the reason everybody's fucking dead.
But that is not why you failed.
The game's shiny graphics aside, there's fantastic details that do add to the character of everything as well, like spirits energetically popping into existence as you get close to them, and bespoke little animations like this guy getting his head stuck on your bomb like my cat does with a cardboard box in his head. As much as I always had this lingering sense of slight emptiness, details like this made me go, oh, that's quite nice, that, isn't it? Oh, life is meaningless. Oh, I wish I was dead. Oh, but look, the wee guy's got a pumpkin in his head. Oh, that's nice. That's sweet. That's cute. This game has been hard for me to figure out. I don't regret spending 30 quid on it. I got my money's worth. But I won't be going back to it. Overall, I thought it was fine. It's cute, the music's great, it's pretty, and that's kind of it. You know, I can't ignore the very particular combination of flaws, which made me literally depressed while playing the game. And I feel like saying, this game made me depressed is kind of a fucking downer. Whether that was a lack of lore and dialogue, or the fact that the game is 80% combat, but the combat isn't very good, or that it's a character platformer with collectibles, but the collectibles may as well be worthless, it's all just fine. I've spent my 10 hours wandering through caves and hitting shiny rocks. I don't need to do it again. I mean, for God's sake, it's a Saturday, you know? I'm going out tonight to hit shiny rocks with lads already. Why do I need a video game for that? It is, however, a hell of a good first try for a new game developer, and I hope this game ends up being very much their Assassin's Creed 1 to their eventual Assassin's Creed 2.
Are you really? Really, this is the checkpoint? Oh god, fuck my life, man.
And that is kinda Bridge of Spirits. I wanted to finish this video purely because everybody loves this game so much. And it really did make me feel kind of fucking empty playing it. There was just a void in my soul as I played it. I do think that says more about me than this game, and also why I'm wielding a hammer. But thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you disliked it, don't dislike it, because that doesn't do anything anymore. Leave a comment calling me a simp, maybe, if you like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.